Okay, just looking at a little bit of circle wheel prep then. Some of the warm-up movements from the arching sequence can be quite helpful here, particularly the rotational bridge. But now it's a little bit more like exaggerating the movement at the shoulders. So as I reach around or position for the rotational bridge, it's almost like I'm trying to face the fingers inwards. And even when I plant then on the floor, with my wrist facing outwards and the fingers facing inwards to the middle of the mat, when I push up, I'll continue to try and externally rotate or push. From the bottom, it's hips up and rolling towards the feet, chest and torso up towards the top, looking for the extension. You might feel a little stretch through the bicep, and then you can continue to twist around, reaching with the free arm, and then bringing it back down to a seat. The problem or the issue with transferring the rotational bridge or that reverse tabletop position to the circle wheel is that the stance is probably a little bit too long. So it looks nice, it feels strong, but it's actually quite hard to get the full circle. Another thing that we need to kind of almost take out of the equation is the fingertips. So we're moving less on the fingertips and a little bit more around the edges of the palm, the heel of the hand and the outside rail of your hand. So we'll take the idea of the rotational bridge, the reverse tabletop position, try to make it a little bit shorter. A couple of things we do, obviously starting in the passive squat. Allow yourself to move onto your tiptoes, lifting your heels, pushing and driving your hips and your knees a little further forward, and then trying to counter that movement by coming back with shoulder over the wrist wherever it lands, chest extending and coming through, and really emphasizing that even on your half circle wheel will be super helpful. So I'm going to roll around. I'm not reaching too far, so there's no drop. It's a comfortable position. Now though, my fingertips are pointing a little closer to my hips and I'm almost on the edges of the hands. And then I feel like I can push up and look over the top, lifting the toes. Helps me find a little bit more space. And then I can come back in the same way, rolling back on the hands. So it's this feeling of rotating on the outside edges and then rolling back. So no big reach, no big momentum, but I'll roll around and through, fingertips in onto the outside edges, push up onto the toes, hips up high, outside edge of the other hand, keep trying to push, rolling round and through, and hopefully not using that much momentum, not having to push myself back and not having to drop back too much. So I'll just do one more where I'm really thinking about engaging and pushing every aspect here. So it's toes, hips driving as high as possible, knees pushing forward, hips pushing high, chest pushing back, and finding this rolling as if I'm forgetting about the fingertips altogether and going on the outside edges of the hands. So I'll come round, sitting comfortably in the passive squat, rolling round and through until my fingertips are almost now facing my hips. Push up, drive up, lift heels, everything high, rolling round, keep externally rotating on the shoulder. Left hand comes in almost closer, still pushing, landing back to the starting point. You'll always have a preferred side, so for the sake of balance, I'll do it on my least preferred side. So I'll continue the circle in the opposite direction, shifting round and through, pushing, rolling, trying to drive the hips high, keeping everything high, shifting and coming back towards that passive squat. So hopefully that helps a little. But the key, or one of the key movements here, is really that roll on the outside edge of the hands. Sometimes it's a little bit of strength and conditioning just in that position. Other times it's just getting used to the pattern and really going for it in your half circle wheels will be super helpful. So if you have a target behind you, like a chair, a little box or a little wall, you can actually in repetitions practice touching that. I'll use my bag here for example. So roughly the length of my bridge away, turn round and through, roll up, reaching round, tap, and then come back and through with little momentum.